Are we looking for more than the basics from Henshaw, Eddie?
I think we are, and I think he has it. I think he's a fantastic talent. The concern I had for him was that he was playing all his test rugby at 12 and he was carrying the ball an awful lot, so he was never finding himself in that outside channel where he had, more options, either carry or pass. And the problem, I suppose, looking at the Leinster side of it is if Gary Ringrose comes back, does he go back to 12 now? And how does that dynamics work?
I wonder, does he go back to 15?
Yeah,
he was a great 15. He's a great kicking game.
But he's played all through his career at 15.
He's very, very capable in the air. We've seen him. We saw that try he scored against England a few seasons ago, dominating the air. So I wonder if you have a full deck, do you get him in there? Because gives him an opportunity to play with ball in hand a little bit more.
That is, like, to play test rugby consistently in one position, you probably should play there most weeks with your club.
Unless you're super talented.
Yeah. But it's a massive ask to ask a guy to suddenly go from one position to another, like if he's playing his club rugby consistently. Because there's nuances at test level that you need to be grappling with every week in your day to day to be comfortable on the ball. And I've no doubt he's that ability.
On that point, you can be sure that they're a bit frustrated that Joey Carbery is playing 15 for Leinster because he's the
backup 10,
number 10. So they want him getting game time. So to that point, he's going to be Leinster's number 12. He's not going to be playing 15 for them.
Yeah.
But I just wonder with the calibre and there's some question marks about Rob Kearney. I thought he was reasonably good. He wasn't at his best.
Yeah.
But I think we need to try and put maximum pressure in multiple positions. And at the moment, Rob doesn't, with Zebo out of the equation, he doesn't have a huge amount of pressure on him. Yeah. And I think that'll bring more out of him if you get him and maybe Jared Payne in there as well, and all fighting for one position.
There is a vacuum behind Rob in the pecking order as to who is the next, with Zebo at the loop, who's the next full back in there. If Rob kind of went down the warm-up, who'd be the guy you'd bring in? And there's question marks there. Joey Carbery could go in there. Robbie Henshaw is a really good suggestion.
Yeah, I hadn't heard that. Yeah. So tease out the midfield situation. If we, I was going to ask you this before the suggestion of Henshaw at 15, Eddie. But so is Bundee Aki now a nailed down 12 for Ireland going forward?
I don't know if he's nailed it down. I thought I think we got carried away on Saturday evening because he played a really solid game. He wasn't a 9 out of 10. I think he was a 7 out of 10. Okay. Didn't make any mistakes, which is exactly what you want in your first cap. Gary Ringrose did the exact same in his first cap, came in, really solid game. But I think because everyone was so wound up earlier in the week about the fact that he was eligible and shouldn't have been eligible on that nonsense, people felt bad about it after the game and we won so well. So I don't know, Bundee Aki is definitely well able to play in that 12 slot. The question is, I think McCluskey has a say as well. I think McCluskey this year has been outstanding. But then can Henshaw go back? And we know he can. So I think, I wouldn't say at the moment, that they're sitting down and saying, okay, there's Bundee Aki locked down at 12 for the next few years. I don't think it's like that. I think
McCluskey's a bit out of the mix on that.
Okay. I think it's harsh, though, Brian.
I think Henshaw and Bundee are definitely vying for the 12 jersey. I still think Gary Ringrose is the automatic choice at 13. Okay. I think he offers something that the other two don't. He has more X factor than the two of them. His game is very different to that. It's more in tune with a conventional outside breaking 13. I suppose it depends on how you want to play the game, but I think if you want someone to create something from nothing, I think you're most likely to get it from Gary Ringrose.
And so in your world, if it's Ringrose and Bundee, you're putting Henshaw at 15 to get him on the pitch.
Well, you get your best players on the pitch, and your informed players. So I thought Bundee was a very impressive first international for him. He was pumped. You could see it after that big hit on Oosthuizen within a minute, big shout and clap to get himself going, G himself up. So I thought his defence was very good. He carried hard into a pretty physical defence. Yeah. I don't know if he'd made any errors in the game, so super solid starting performance. We'll see an evolution of his game at international as well. He wouldn't have wanted to throw too many 50-50s in a game like that in your first test. You just play basics extremely well, keep the coach on side, and then grow into your performances in the subsequent weeks and years. So I think we're in a great spot. Just on McCluskey, I think the problem with him is that he's become a bit one-dimensional. I think if you force his hand and you show, as Robbie Henshaw did in the international at the weekend, if you show him that you might be closing the space on the outside, he'll tuck and run every time. And if you have a good, proficient chop tackler, you still have to tackle him because he's a unit.
He's a huge unit.
And he's got a nice offloading game. But I think you have to have more at international level.
I think he's a 12. He's a really, really hard line inside running 12 with good offloading skills. Which this year, I think he's brought his game to another level with Ulster this year. He's been the difference with Ulster winning and losing games this year. And his ability to get his hands free in a tackle is colossal. And I think he's a guy that he got his first cap 2 years ago in Twickenham, and I thought he hit a really solid first cap, and he never got back in again. I think he's not as far outside it, because there are good options there. But I wouldn't kick him out of the 10.
I'm asking the best man. That coaches have preferable players,
totally,
right?
Yeah.
And there's something that you get the sense that Joe Schmidt is not as big a fan of Stuart McCluskey as he is of the other boys.
He's not a big fan,
and whether it's an attitude thing or a playing ability point of view, I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's definitely something in it that the other lots of other players get a preference before him.
Yes, absolutely. That's the coach's view on it, which is fair enough. Every coach has his own vision of what he wants. But I just think that there's plenty of possibilities. There's plenty of options now in the midfield. Yeah. If everybody was fit in the morning, you'd have a great discussion as to what's your midfield.
Where did Jared Payne go?
If everyone's fit in the morning, if everyone's fit in the morning, what's your midfield?
If everyone's fit in the morning, I agree. I think Ringrose at 13, Sexton at 10, and 12. I think I'd still stick with Robbie Henshaw. That'd be my perfect midfield.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that at the moment, but it would be dependent on form elsewhere. Yeah, and I am a big believer of getting your best players into the team and your informed players. And if you had a Rob Kearney not in the form of his life, over the next few months, I think you could look at a viable option of Henshaw at 15 or Payne at 15.
Payne's played 15.
I think it's very difficult to see Robbie Henshaw not in Ireland starting 15.
Totally, yeah.
Okay.
He's a to me, Brian says he's a key guy because he's so consistent. He doesn't make mistakes, and I think his own confidence around the team spreads to everybody else.